Good evening, friends, and welcome to another edition of Crime Time with DutyRon and Ed Wallace. You know the drill. We're retired New York City police detectives and 9/11 World Trade Center first responders. If you like all things true crime related from the police detective's perspective, you're in the right spot. Hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, so you'll get all things DutyRon and this guy over here, Ed Wallace, my partner in crime. When we go live or upload another video, day 31, the defense unofficially rests. They didn't officially say it in court, but Ed, today, the good doctor, the other half of Crash Daddy, he took center stage. Your thoughts on it, Ed?
Wow, today was a wild day. I told you folks yesterday I don't trust Brennan, and sure, he came out of the gate swinging, and he was trying his best to get some kind of violation that he can run the Bev and ask for a mistrial, in my opinion. He was doing everything possible to antagonize this witness, and he didn't bite, thank God. I will say that I was a little disappointed with him in the beginning when he said happy birthdays to his son. You just don't do that on the stand. I get it, you're proud, and but you don't do that. You don't do that in a high-profile case where people's lives are on the line. You just don't do that. So that wasn't a good look. But he made him more than made up for it later in his testimony. Brennan was trying to throw the kitchen sink at this guy, and he was just deflecting it like it was, mosquitoes, just swatting them away.
Yeah, he wasn't having it. Like you said, Ed, that was, to me, very unprofessional. I didn't see it live, but I saw it on the replay, and I was just like, that just kind of, I just did like why? And it seemed like he was at one point a little bit rattled. His cage was a little bit rattled, but then he reeled it back in, and he really, his professionalism shined, I believe, and his knowledge, first and foremost, his knowledge of the case and his answers when he was crossed by Hank was just phenomenal. We're going to take a listen to it. But before we do, we want to say thank you to our moderators, the replay viewers, the super chatters, the folks who support us on Buy Me a Cup of Coffee and Patreon. We love you guys. We thank you. And this trial is wrapping up. Before you know it, I believe we're on, I hate to sound like Lifeguard Bev, but it looks like we're on track for the jury to get the case. Closing arguments are scheduled for Friday. The jury won't be in tomorrow. It'll just be arguments leading up to the 90-minute closing for both sides, and a little bit of some housekeeping, as she called it, some items entered into evidence. There'll be an argument that you'll hear. I think it's 4.
One last PowerPoint for the defense.
Right. So we'll see, and we'll hear that tomorrow. We'll take a break, and then we'll get back at it on Friday evening, Friday night forensics. I don't think it'll be forensics. It'll be fireworks. Friday night fireworks. I think we'll label that one.
I will tell you, though, Brennan did not do himself any favors with this jury, his theatrics today, his hostile cross-examination, and Lifeguard Bev. I don't give a shit. I get your bias, but he ran roughshod over your court today, and you didn't step in to do anything and smack him down. Okay, what he did was totally inappropriate. And I will tell you this: there are some issues here with possible prosecutorial misconduct on Brennan's part. Okay, you see, he's not doing a rebuttal, right? Why isn't he doing a rebuttal, folks? Because several things. One, he's afraid of blowback on him from the lab analyst who he prepped for her testimony, and he had to have known she made those holes in the back of John O'Keefe's hoodie. So on cross-examination from the defense team, they were going to ask, did you discuss those holes on the back of the shirt with Prosecutor Brennan? And she's not going to perjure herself. And she's going to say, yeah, we discussed it. I told him that I did. He has my report. You all have my report. Then the same thing with the x-rays. Okay. because those x-rays were done the day of the autopsy from the medical examiner's office, and he had them.
Facts.
He had them. So when his expert gets up there, Dr. Welcher, and Dr. Welcher made a big thing about the x-rays, so he could be questioned about that. And did you know that the prosecutor Brennan had those x-rays? Oh, and then, you know, of course, after today's testimony, he didn't want to bring Welcher back because Welcher was going to get eaten up and spit out by the defense team for that $400,000 scam he pulled on the Commonwealth with his alleged science.
Yeah, agreed. Everything about the Commonwealth's presentation has been secretive, right up from not having Lifeguard Bev eliminate the wording of the FBI. They were not able to talk about various really important pieces of evidence that the jury needed to know about. The list goes on and on of how this all was so shady. I mean, I'm using layman's words here, layman's terms, but, you know, Hank Brennan was secretive about everything all along. And we have a poll up. Do you feel that the Commonwealth has proven beyond a reasonable doubt this case? And there's just a simple yes or no. We'll let you know at the end or towards the end of this live stream what the poll indicates. And listen, this is open to everybody and anybody. You don't have to pay to come onto this show and watch. The only thing that we require is that you're subscribed for the time of the show, of the live stream, and we hope that you continue to stay subscribed. What do you got, Ed, before we go to our first piece?
Well, here, my 2 cents. Didn't Welcher say there was no x-rays? Yes. He said, we'll never know if there was a hairline fracture because nobody did x-rays. Right. He did see it, testified to it.
Absolutely. And they're not bringing any of their rebuttal witnesses back, as you said, Ed, is because this is way far away from being repairable. There's no turning back here.
Right.
Yeah.
He can't bring in the DNA about the dog now.
Yeah.
Okay. Because, because they would, excuse the, saying, but they would be eaten up and spit out as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. Let's say hello to a couple of people. Janine is in the chat. So is Schmitty Schmacks. Good to see Donna, Queen of My Crew, Anna L, Black Rose, Dawn Marie. We got all of our mod squads here. Cindy, RN, thank you for being here. Okie dokie. Joe Martinez says she's innocent. Thank you for being here. I saw Makeup Mobster in the chat. She's been on with us every night, and I appreciate it. We've been friends for a real long time on YouTube, so thank you, Makeup Mobster. Let's listen to a little piece from CBS Boston.
Defense attorneys have rested now in the Karen Reed trial.
Their final witness explained today why he doesn't believe Reed's car hit John O'Keefe the night he died. WBZ's Christina Rex is at the courthouse to show us what happens before this case goes to the jury.
I'm ready. Yeah, I'm ready.
Ready for closing arguments. After 31 days, the jury will deliberate starting this Friday. Karen Reed's thoughts on her defense's case.
I thought it was strong last year. It's stronger. Yes, we just told more witnesses and laid out more of the case.
The defense rested Wednesday and testimony is officially done. The defense's final witness, Dr. Andrew Rentschler, an expert who analyzed John O'Keefe's injuries and whether they came from a car crash.
My opinion is that the evidence is inconsistent with Mr. O'Keefe being struck on the right arm by the SUV and then moving laterally into the yard and falling backward.
He says there was no crash based on the victim's injuries and what he believes was faulty testing by a prosecution expert. The last day of testimony was filled with dramatic moments, including early on when the witness wished his son a happy birthday live on the stand.
Happy birthday, Kai. And I have 2 older ones.
All right.
This is so cringeworthy. And the reason I'm stopping it here is because he thought he was going to go into a whole family history here. I mean, I don't know what he was thinking or where he was going with that, but definitely cringe.
Well, he was definitely comfortable about talking about his family on the stand, but I just, like I said, that part right there, he should never have mentioned. He should
Early
never
on,
have done
when
that.
Yeah, agreed, Ed. Agreed.
the witness wished his son a happy
9-year-old who's
birthday
actually
live on the
turning 10
stand.
today. Happy birthday, Kai. And I have 2 older ones.
All right, we're gonna stop this. Another example.
Go ahead.
Another example of what, huh?
Mine is
Did
all
you
the-
say that when that doctor for the prosecutor was just going off on a tangent, and you didn't rein him in, you just let him freewheel up on the stand. He said whatever the fuck he wanted. Oh, excuse me. Said whatever he wanted.
You said the word? Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, you remember the emergency room doctor?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it just went on, and the doctor from the hospital, rather, the lab doctor.
Yeah. She just let it go.
The guy gave soliloquies. He wasn't answering the questions. He wasn't listening, and he would just talk about what he wanted to talk about.
Agreed. Thomas Futch sends in a 5 and says, if she's found guilty, I'm going to be mad. There's going to be a lot of people that are mad, because if this jury, based on what we all watched and what we all saw presented, comes up with a guilty verdict, I would be shocked.
Yeah, no way. I got to go look see what the Vegas bookmakers are
Well,
what their odds are on this trial.
842 people have voted so far, 847. The poll is swelling. Do you feel that the Commonwealth has proven their case beyond a reasonable doubt? 4% said yes. 96% has said no. 855 votes. The percentages hasn't changed as we speak. I'll continue to monitor this, and I'll let you guys know. Make sure you vote in the pinned poll that's at the top of the chat. Let's let the rest of this play, but listen to Bev say, it's just such nonsense. Hey, Mel Stiller, good to see you. Our friend from Canada is here. She wrote an unbelievably beautiful poem for this case. When the verdict is read, I plan to have Ed Wallace read that poem that she wrote. So thank you, Mel, for your creativity, and thank you for sharing with us. We love you and we appreciate you.
Go ahead. Less editorializing.
Mine is all the personal.
I'm sorry, Your Honors.
This awkwardness continued all day.
Is that funny?
It's not funny.
Okay.
So I'm going to strike the comment.
Now that you've shared your opinions, can I get back to my question?
He needed to be brought up in front of the jury and spanked.
Yeah, but
Okay.
not happening with bias, Bev. She is clearly on the side of the Commonwealth. I mean, I'm talking for the majority here. Ed, I know I'm talking for you as well. But what she's shown for 31 days, some 8 weeks.
Her bias. Yeah.
Oh, her bias is tremendous.
Yeah. But see, his speaking out like that, his outburst is just a sign of his understanding he's losing this case and he's desperate. And so when you have no ethics and you're desperate and your back is up in the corner, you got to watch out for people like that, because they're crazy and they're capable of doing anything.
Agreed. Dangerous people. 19 minutes ago, we posted a poll, and it's over 1,000 people now voting in that poll. Continue to vote, folks.
Your Honors.
This awkwardness continued all day.
Is that funny?
It's not funny.
Okay.
So I'm going to strike the comment.
Hold on to it, Ron.
You've shared your opinion.
When he said that would have been a perfect opportunity if the doctor could have got his thoughts together quickly enough to say, no, it's actually quite sad that you spent all this money on this prosecution when we told you before trial this never happened.
Yeah. And unfortunately, they didn't. We talked about that in the green room before we went live. So many people are chiming in the chat. Let us know in the chat your thoughts on lifeguard, as Ed has crowned Judge Beverly Cannoni. I can't come to grips and say the Honorable Judge Cannoni.
No, hell no.
Do it.
He hasn't deserved that title.
There is nothing honorable about her. And look, call me what you want, call Ed what you want. We call the balls and strikes, and she's horrible. I've never seen anything like
his entire cross-examination. I was yelling at the television screen. I'll allow it. I'll allow it. I'll allow it. No other judge would have allowed what Brennan was doing. Are you kidding me? I'll allow it. I'll allow it.
Yeah. Let us know in the chat what you think about the judge. Is she honorable? Is she not? Put your thoughts in the comments down below. If you're a replay viewer or if you're a live viewer, let us know.
All day.
Is that funny?
It's not funny.
Okay.
So I'm going to strike the comment.
Now that you've shared your opinions, can I get back to my question?
Sustained.
If you watched this trial on live stream, you may have seen this fan shot a lot.
God.
Lawyers and the judge went to sidebar 14 times on Wednesday.
Ed, they're trying to traumatize us on the replay of this news clip here. That fan, I don't know about you, but I hope to never see that fan ever again on national television. You know, the sidebars, what did they say? 14 of them?
Yeah.
Ridiculous. That's taking up so much time. And when you hear lifeguard Bev say, oh, you know, we're on schedule, or telling Alan Jackson or any one of the defense, let's speed this up. And when Brennan gets up there, he's given carte blanche. He can take as much time as he wants. He could do whatever he wants. Whereas when the defense is up there, she's rushing them. She's speeding them. Okay, let's wrap this up. Okay, move on to the next question.
The 14 sidebars were because of Brennan's antics and his unethical behavior.
He was like a little kid being told, go to your room. You get no dinner. Go to your room. He was
a kid having a tantrum.
Send them into his room with a ham sandwich.
Trial on live stream, you may have seen this fan shot a lot. Lawyers and the judge went to sidebar 14 times on Wednesday, leaving the jury waiting.
Jurors, I apologize that took so long, but it was necessary to do rather than sending you out.
The real tension came during an extended cross-examination where prosecutor Hank Brennan tried to challenge Dr. Rentschler with other pieces of evidence, like O'Keefe's hat or a broken drinking glass found in the snow.
I guess you could somehow predict or have a possibility of almost anything happening. You could say someone could get hit by a car and do a couple of somersaults into the yard.
You don't know the position of Mr. O'Keefe's arm at impact, do you?
Nobody knows. I don't think.
Ed, I got to stop it there, because I know when this was happening live, you were like, yes.
No, he should have jumped in here with 2 feet and just started off, because he started off wrong, but then he figured it out and he regained his composure and he came out with the right answer. It didn't happen, sir. No, nobody knows the position of his arm, because the arm never hit the taillight. The taillight was not broken by his arm. That's what he should have kept saying over and over again.
Right. But you know what? In the grand scheme of things of how this courtroom is run, that would be stricken from the record, or objection, and it would have been sustained.
I think he got it in a couple of times, though.
He did, but he didn't say it enough.
He got it in here.
Somehow predict or have
Glass found in the snow.
I guess you could somehow predict or have a possibility of almost anything happening. You could say someone could get hit by a car and do a couple of somersaults into the yard.
You don't know the position of Mr. O'Keefe's arm at impact, do you?
There was no impact.
Nobody knows. I don't think his arm was even impacted by the cars.
Moving forward, Karen Reed says she's nervous about another hung jury in her second trial.
After what happened in the first trial and what we heard from the jurors that came forward, we just have to have an even keener eye on the verdict form and the jury instructions. I just hope they were listening. That's all I can ask for.
Did you say this before we went live?
Yep. Yeah, exactly. To the fixer. Yeah, Ron and I were talking about this. There was an opportunity for the good doctor here to jump in with both feet again when he kept asking, "Is this possible? Is this possible?" And he should have jumped in there and said, "Yeah." And so was launching the SUV into outer space.
Hey, fixer, get out of our heads. Yeah, thank you for the super chat. We were obviously talking about that, but yeah, it's this trial. is coming to a close, but boy, have we had some hits.
They were in the same room I was.
So the way the defense
And what we heard from the jurors that came forward, we just have to have an even keener eye on the verdict form and the jury instructions. I just hope they were listening. That's all I can ask for. They were in the same room I was.
So the way the defense rested might have been a little confusing. The defense says it rested, meaning no more witnesses, subject to one more evidence issue. So that's going to be argued with just the lawyers and the judge first thing Thursday morning. Then they'll discuss jury instructions. So no jury on Thursday. Then.
Did she freeze?
Your anticipation, what's happening here? How come I can't get this back? Okay. Streamyard, first time ever, is getting a little wonky. Ed, your thoughts on closing arguments on Friday? 90 minutes is there was a little argument. He was asking for an hour and 30, and she said, "You'll get an hour and 15."
Okay, so that's 75 minutes. Right? So anyhow, if it was 90, there would have been an hour and a half. But again, I don't understand with such a high-profile case why she's limiting them to 90 minutes. You got to be on your guard with Brennan, and everybody here has to understand that closing arguments and opening arguments are not to be used by the jury as evidence. But if I were the defense, I would have some demonstration, some demonstrative aids to lay out all of the reasonable doubt, all of the proof that that vehicle did not hit John O'Keefe. Okay, lay it out, right? And lay the timelines out. Remember, it's not the defense's job to prove Karen innocent, but I think they did a pretty good job of doing that. But they don't have to. The burden of proof, and they have to hammer that point home. The burden of proof was on Brennan and the district attorney's office to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Karen Reed hit and killed John O'Keefe with her SUV, and they haven't done it.
Right. Yeah. 100%, 1,440 votes. 5% say yes, the Commonwealth has proven beyond the reasonable doubt their case against Karen Reed. 5% of our viewers think that. 95% of almost 1,500 votes say no. We'll continue to look at that. Let's go to the videotape and listen to a little bit from Canton Confidential.
The defense rests its case.
We'll see you tomorrow morning.
Before that, the final witness returned to the stand.
It is what it is. That's the science. You can't deny it. You have to accept what science tells you.
Stop.
Experts weigh in.
That statement is exactly what was needed to say there, and because Brennan does not accept the science, because the science says and the medical evidence says this did not happen. That elbow did not break that tail light, because the elbow and the arm and so forth don't have the injuries associated with breaking that tail light at those speeds that the prosecution kept saying. All right. It didn't happen. It didn't happen. Okay. And they're in denial about it. Right. Why? Because you had one or two witnesses that put their bug in the ear of the Massachusetts State Police of the car accident, and they're protecting the occupants of the house because they're Boston cop and they're not going to experience any heat.
Yeah. We have a merch store, and inside that store is a hat and a shirt, and it says, "The science doesn't lie." So go over and check that out. It's an interesting pieces. These are different various pieces of merch, but it's based on not just this case, but what Ed has always been saying here is that the science, the evidence, it doesn't lie. Now, the other side to that is that, and the doctor pointed it out, when he was questioned by Hank on cross about the blue line hat. He said
talked about the blue line hat. He talked about the sneaker. He talked about the pieces of the taillight that were in the debris field, which there is no documentation to the debris field. And even the doctor said, well, you know, in all of our experiments, the broken taillight pieces were relatively close to where on the street where the impacts occurred, you know, not up in some front lawn, and his body being hit like that wouldn't have flown up by the flagpole in the manner that you say. And so if you don't accept the science, then, you know, shame on you. This should have never gone to trial, never gone to trial.
The Commonwealth is supposed to, and all prosecutors across the country are supposed to be getting to the truth, not creating
truth and justice. Truth and justice. That's their job.
Justice in the American way, and it's not happening in Denham, Massachusetts. That's for sure.
For that, the final witness returned to the stand.
It is what it is. That's the science. You can't deny it. You have to accept what science tells you.
Our panel of experts weigh in on his testimony and other evidence presented so far. And
you have no idea where the point of impact was in this collision, do you?
Nobody does.
Huge.
Because it didn't happen. That's what he should have said. Nobody does, because it never took place.
Tense moments during cross-examination. We take a closer look at that exchange. Plus, no rebuttal witnesses. Canton Confidential, the Karen Reed murder trial starts right now.
And the defense says it will officially rest their case tomorrow, and now closing arguments.
So that's what I was saying up front. I saw a lot of people in the chat kind of arguing, not arguing, but, you know, talking back and forth about it. They officially didn't rest their case pending that one piece of that PowerPoint presentation. They want it entered into evidence, and I believe that I hope that will happen tomorrow. But we'll see with Lifeguard Bev. You never know, right, Ed?
Yeah. You know, another thing too, when he kept badgering the witness, well, when you were doing your analysis, did you take into consideration the plastic pieces in the front lawn? The evidence, he said, all the evidence, like the evidence of the plastic pieces. I would have turned around and said, well, you're classifying it as evidence. I don't see it as evidence because I know this didn't happen.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
But
then he asked him, well, how do you think it got there? He goes, I don't know. But at that point, I would have jumped in. I can tell you how it didn't get there. It didn't get there by John O'Keefe's arm.
Yeah. At one point in the cross-examination by Hank, there was a moment where he was basically telling him John O'Keefe was not struck by the Lexus SUV. And Hank just kept asking the question over and over again. It was just very, very uncomfortable. We're going to play, I have a little piece clipped. We'll play that. Almost 1,800 people in the poll, 95% say the Commonwealth has not proven beyond a reasonable doubt. They have not proven their case. 5% feel that they have proved their case. We'll continue to monitor this. Let's listen. When the parts come with the hand and the body, I got to just take it off the screen, but I'll leave the audio playing. YouTube doesn't like it. I don't know why.
Are scheduled for Friday after a late day ruling by Judge Beverly Cannoni. Good evening, everyone. I'm JC Monahan. Glenn has the night off. Melody Mendez has been following this case. So Melody, this is a sign we are making progress toward the end, right?
JC, we absolutely are. And I'm glad you mentioned that because tomorrow the jurors won't be here, but we'll still be making progress even then. And here's why. So tomorrow the judge will take time with both attorneys from both sides, and they will essentially iron out the jury instructions and the verdict forms, those very, very important documents that will go with the jury when they go into deliberations. But let's talk about the progress, JC, you mentioned that happened in court today.
And I was laughing because somebody in the chat said the 5% are the people who accidentally hit the wrong button in the poll. Yeah. It could be.
So Dr. Andrew Rentschler, we know he is one of the ARCA witnesses. look, we've known for a long time how important those ARCA witnesses are to this case, not just because of the testimony that we saw them give in the first trial, but because of how hard the prosecution fought to not have those ARCA witnesses be on the stand this time around.
Ed, why did they not want the ARCA witnesses to be on the stand this time around?
The ARCA witness?
Yeah.
Say that again, because the ARCA witness are the crash daddies.
She said the defense fought so hard, that the prosecution fought so hard to not have the ARCA witnesses on the stand. And I was kind of leading you into why.
Why? Because they just devastated his entire case. Okay. Between the ARCA experts and the doctors in this case, all of the lady doctors,
Dr. Scordy Bello,
all of them, every single one of them, all of the pathologists, and they just came out swinging, and they basically cut the legs out of the prosecution's case with science. Science and medicine saves the day here.
They blinded them with science. Right?
That's right.
Let's let the rest of this play.
Well, they were. Dr. Andrew Rentschler was out there today, and today we really got to see why the prosecution was fighting so hard that they not testify. Take a look.
If you can't prove that the impact happened, then everything after that doesn't actually matter, does it?
Defense witness Dr. Andrew Rentschler,
and there it is right there, too. That was huge when he said, if you can't prove that the impact didn't happen, there's not much else to go on from there. Huge moment in court. And there were many of these that involved the direct and cross.
Then everything
round today, and today we really.
If you can't prove that the impact happened, then everything after that doesn't actually matter, does it?
Defense witness Dr. Andrew Rentschler, a biomechanical engineer from ARCA, on the stand all day, testifying there is no evidence to show a collision ever happened, and says there's no science to back the prosecution's theory at the very core of this case. First, talking about his own testing. When addressing the damage to John O'Keefe's clothing, he pointed out the number of abrasions on his skin not matching the number of tears in his sleeve.
You need 36 different points of contact to get through the sweatshirt and get to the skin.
How many defects were noted by the crime lab in Mr. O'Keefe's right sleeve?
9 defects.
So stop it right there.
Injuries, the lack of any bone.
So you got 9 defects in the sleeve, but 36 injuries that had to get through that sleeve to his arm. Okay. So how does that happen, folks? Is it shards of plastic or polycarbonate coming from the tail light and penetrating through the defects there and causing? No, there was none of that was in the wounds. None of that was inside. But the dog, when the dog claws through and bites through, once their teeth are on the other side of the cloth in the sleeve, it stays in those openings and then loosens their bite or moves their claws and then shifts and then rebites while still having their teeth. So you have the 9 defects that can account for multiple injuries or wounds to John O'Keefe's arm by a dog, not by shards of plastic.
In his sleeve.
You need 36 different points of contact to get through the sweatshirt and get to the skin.
How many defects were noted by the crime lab in Mr. O'Keefe's right sleeve?
9 defects.
He testified about O'Keefe's injuries, the lack of any bone breaks or fractures, even minimal bruising to his arm. He says proves there's no possible way he was hit by a 6,000-pound vehicle.
So even at 10 miles an hour, you're going to have 600 to 1,200 pounds of force acting on the arm.
Is that enough to break it?
That's more than enough.
That's like, Ed, you talk about the bones, especially in the hands and the fingers. They're so easily broken. Your wrist is easily broken. Your forearm breaks pretty easy. You know, when you're getting up here to the, and that was not even an issue here. But my God, like, come on, how much?
And the stuff that you're coming up onto now was tremendous also, because Brennan was attacking his own expert. He was attacking Welcher. he said, you're not saying that that arm in that L position was the way that it was that our expert said. Yeah, that's exactly what your expert testified to.
Exactly.
And so the doctor said, well, what's the point of him doing that exercise if that wasn't what he thought? It's in his report.
And I asked the chat, and our chat is our true crime audience, the people who watch this religiously. They're like super, on this case. Why are we seeing day 30 and day 31 these x-rays? Why have these x-rays been held back by Hank Brennan and the Commonwealth?
And how come there's no mention of it? How come there's no mention of it? Where did these come from?
Zero mention. I know what you're grabbing for, Ed. So I'm
no. I was
okay. I heard a bag ruffle. I didn't know. I didn't know what was going on.
It's where I have my ham sandwich from the deli.
No, we're getting to that, Ed. We're getting to it. All right, let me let this play.
No possible way he was hit by a 6,000-pound vehicle.
So even at 10 miles an hour, you're going to have 600 to 1,200 pounds of force acting on the arm.
Is that enough to break it?
That's more than enough.
Rentschler then took aim at testing done by the prosecution's expert witness, Dr. Judson Welcher, systemically dismantling what Welcher called the blue paint test.
You can't say that the area where the blue paint is corresponds to the area.
How many people felt that this was the most ridiculous test by Dr. Welcher? This blue paint with the cup. And we saw John O'Keefe leave the waterfall with a brown
beer bottle. Yeah. And the parking lot has a beer bottle in his hand. And, he said, no one can say that John O'Keefe had that cocktail glass in his hand. Nobody could say that. You got a video of that? Where are you getting that from? And then he says, he shows the blue paint test and he said, look, in order for him to hit all the spots that corresponds to the injuries, he sneakily had to shift his body forward to hit that aspect of his arm first to get the blue paint to transfer. And then he shows how he does that in slow motion.
Look at this comment here. And you know what? Listen, I'll say that everybody that night was drinking, with the exception of our pharmacist.
Okay, so he was drunk. So what does that mean?
Our pharmaceutical witness, the friend of Karen Reed, she testified that she was drinking water. She was the only one drinking water. Everybody was drinking. This has nothing to do with whether police officer John O'Keefe was intoxicated or not. Doesn't have anything to do with Karen Reed being intoxicated or not. She's not being charged with driving while intoxicated. She's being charged with second-degree murder.
So John was drunk, but the science still says his arm did not impact that taillight and break that taillight. His injuries to the back of his head and his injuries to his arm were not caused by being hit by this vehicle and thrown. That's what the science says. So what difference does it make if he's drunk?
They were all drunk. Everybody was drinking. And if you want to go one step further, Brian Higgins was driving a department vehicle while drunk.
In the parking lot of the police station, right?
ATF agent was operating a department vehicle and his personal vehicle while intoxicated that night. Why isn't he locked up? Why didn't he get fired from his job? He should have been, because he was on camera drinking and acting like a fool and getting into a car and driving to the precinct and going and doing paperwork. And he was getting paid while intoxicated on the job. I mean, the fuckery just never ends.
Area of the abrasions, if you don't take measurements, if you just eyeball it, all you can say is by eyeballing it, it looks approximately the same. You can't say with any scientific certainty that that area of paint corresponds to where the abrasions are.
Under cross-examination, Brennan tried to push Rentschler on his criticism of their expert's report, but Rentschler pushed back.
Dr. Welcher said in his report on page 9, he said, I have conducted an accident reconstruction and biomechanical engineering analysis of this matter. If he did not recreate how he was positioned, if he did not determine the speed of impact, if he did not determine how Mr. O'Keefe's body moved, if he did not determine where he ended up, then he did not conduct either an accident reconstruction analysis or a biomechanical causation analysis.
Ed,
Bam!
was that a?
Pardon my French, but you're an asshole.
Indeed. Brennan, you're an asshole.
And?
You dick.
Indeed.
He did nothing of the sort.
Brennan leaning in.
You have no
Rentschler
Determine the speed of impact, if he did not determine how Mr. O'Keefe's body moved, if he did not determine where he ended up, then he did not conduct either an accident reconstruction analysis or a biomechanical causation analysis. He did nothing of the sort.
Brennan leaning in.
You have no information about the angle of Mr. O'Keefe's body.
We have no information that he was even hit by the Lexus. So
bang.
So there wouldn't be any information on the angle if his body wasn't hit.
Rentschler doing the same.
So first of all, there's debris in the yard. What that's from, is there a collision? Was there a collision? Where did that come from? Where it was positioned? That's all conjecture and supposition. Those aren't actual facts, sir.
That's correct. That's correct. Just because you say it's evidence doesn't mean it's evidence.
Exactly.
I was hoping he was going to get into, well, nobody followed any forensic standards.
Yeah, that would have been great.
Lieutenant Leaf Blower.
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure getting on that stand and being cross-examined. But yeah, I mean, there's just a ton of compelling testimony today. And it seems like this is like day 5 in a row, 5 days in a row of just bang, 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 bang by the defense. So it's looking good.
It's clearly
about the angle of Mr. O'Keefe's body.
We have no information that he was even hit by the Lexus. So there wouldn't be any information on the angle if his body wasn't hit.
Rentschler doing the same.
So first of all, there's debris in the yard. What that's from, is there a collision? Was there a collision? Where did that come from? Where it was positioned? That's all conjecture and supposition. Those aren't actual facts, sir.
At some points, clearly alluding to the defense's theory of the case.
And did you consider how that hat ended up on the ground in front of 34 Fairview?
Someone could put it there. I mean, there's a number of different possibilities.
Do you have a theory you want to share with us about planting evidence? Is that what we're getting at, sir?
We all
just love the look that he gave him. It was great. If you could see the look of Ed Wallace's face while that was playing, I would
have thrown that back at him. He said, "Well, you know Proctor and Sergeant Urey better than me. That's why you tell me. Did they plant the evidence?"
Yeah, exactly.
But at that point, he would have said, "Mistrial, mistrial, mistrial." He was just looking for an excuse.
Yeah.
Alluding to the defense's theory of the case.
And did you consider how that hat ended up on the ground in front of 34 Fairview?
Someone could put it there. I mean, there's a number of different possibilities.
Do you have a theory you want to share with us about planting evidence? Is that what we're getting at, sir?
We also learned today the judge will give each side 90 minutes for their closing arguments, JC. Hopefully that'll happen Friday.
All right, Melody, I know you had a chance to speak to Karen on her way out of court. What did she have to say?
Listen, you know, Karen is usually very stoic on her way out of court. She does give the media a few minutes every day to answer some of our questions. And today I asked her specifically, like, do you get a chance to rest? No pun intended, just to take a break, take a beat with your team. And she said, absolutely not. Now is when the hard work begins to craft their closing arguments, which are hugely important. And they needed all that testimony to be over before they could begin doing that. She said that's how they will spend their next few days. JC.
Melody, thank you.
What do you make of the prosecution not calling any rebuttal witnesses?
They don't have any analysis and they don't have any facts to present through Dr. Welcher, so they're done.
Karen, you had
juries,
said
you know?
before you have butterflies at this stage. Are you
I do.
feeling those?
Yeah, of course.
You think your case is stronger this time?
I thought it was strong last year. It's stronger, yes.
I have a better angle of that interview, but this was all part of Boston 10. I thought that they did a good job. Ed, let's go to the chat because we're close to the hour mark. We got a bunch of super chats, but let's pick up the chat. The letter M says Action Jackson. Many of you in the chat, we want to get the vibe for how everyone's feeling here. And all I got to do is glance over to this poll. Do you feel the Commonwealth's proven beyond the reasonable doubt their case? An astounding 2,500 people voted. 95% say no, they haven't, and 5% says yes. And the 5% is a margin of error of 2 or so percent. So I'd say about 3% say, on their own voting, there's some error there, but 2 or 3% believe that they have, and the rest haven't. What do you got, Ed?
A little good fellas here. So do I amuse you, Hank? Huh? How am I funny, Hank? Huh? You stuttering prick.
I love
am
it.
I funny? Ha. How am I funny?
I'm funny how? I mean, funny like I'm a clown. I amuse you.
Yeah.
I make you laugh. I'm here to fucking amuse you. What do you mean funny? Funny how? How am I funny?
You know how you tell a story. What?
No, I don't know. You said it. How do I know? You said I'm funny. What the fuck am I funny? What the fuck is so funny about me? Tell me. Tell me what's funny.
Am I good or am I good, Ed?
You nailed it, bro. You nailed it.
Fucking nailed that. Bam. I would even play that one more time, but I'm just gonna play a little bit of it.
I'm funny how? I mean, funny like I'm a clown. I amuse.
Could shut it off at any time. Ed, keep scanning the chat. You never know when I got something that I can pull out of my stop and shop bag of tricks.
Okay.
This is Karen outside the court. This is a better shot of her interviewing.
Karen, was it ready for closing? Did you guys rest?
How do you think Dr. today? He was terrific, as always. Honest and stood by his analysis and answered truthfully.
How do you feel like your case closed? I'm ready. Yeah, I'm ready. Why 90 minutes? What can we expect to hear?
All the facts, all the truth, everything that went wrong with their case.
What do you make the prosecution not calling any rebuttal witnesses?
They don't have any analysis and they don't have any facts to present through Dr. Welcher, so they're done.
Karen,
What do you want the
Karen,
jury
you had said
to know?
before you have butterflies at this stage. Are you
I do.
feeling those?
Yeah, of course.
Do you think your case is stronger this time?
I thought it was strong last year. It's stronger. Yes, we just called more witnesses and laid out more of the case.
How do you feel about the jury?
I feel good about the jury. Yeah, we selected them. I was there. I took part in it, and we chose fair and truthful, civic-minded citizens of Norfolk County.
What do you want the jurors to know as they go get their instructions?
I just hope they were listening. That's all I can ask for. They were in the same room I was for the last, I don't know how many days that was, 33 days.
31. Given what we saw play out in the last trial regarding the verdict forms and what we now know that the jury found unanimously came to a conclusion, what are your concerns going into it this time around?
Obviously, after what happened in the first trial and what we heard from the jurors that came forward, we just have to have an even keener eye on the verdict form and the jury instructions.
Okay, guys.
So answer to your question, what the heck?
How am I funny, Henry?
What you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you?
You got me there, Ed. You really got me there with that bit. I got scared when I came back to us. Sheila Walsh says, DutyRon and Ed, what's your opinion on the defendant speaking outside the courtroom? I don't like it. I think that it didn't help her in this case when she gave those interviews to the various outlets. When you are accused of a crime and you are being tried for murder in the second degree, it's just a no bueno. You just don't do it. And like I said on a couple other lives, I think Ed and I talked about this many times. Maybe there's some type of magical thing that Mr. Jackson and the defense team feels that this will help her this time. It's unethical. It's not. I can't say it's unethical. I stopped myself. It's just not commonly done. It's not a common practice of a defense lawyer or team of defense lawyers to tell their client to speak to reporters outside. Ed?
Yeah, I'm one that feels you have the right to remain silent. Use it.
Yeah.
The less you say, the less you say, the better you are in cases like this. That's why she should have never done those interviews. But she needed to raise money. I get it. She needed to raise money for her case to pay for the lawyers initially and so forth. You know, because again, they threw the kitchen sink at her, and you know, they ruined her life over nothing. This should have never gone to trial. No respectable prosecutor that I know of would have taken this to a grand jury and gotten an indictment on such shoddy investigation or lack thereof, and never would this have seen the inside of a courtroom.
I agree with you, brother. I got a picture that I'm trying to pull up here. Just give me 2 seconds as you scan the chat. I got something funny to show everybody, but I got to play a piece before we show it.
Okay. I hope she files a lawsuit. I know there are still civil suits that she's going to have to deal with once this is over. Okay. You know, and maybe her insurance team can get their depositions of the Alberts and, you know, the other players here, Higgins and all of those other people, and get some justice there.
Yes. Amen. Ed, here's the clip. I think I got it at the right spot. But this is Hank Brennan being a total asshole, as he was all day and most of the trial. Listen up.
On the forearm. Special prosecutor Hank Brennan tried to rattle Rentschler, suggesting he wasn't independent after having lunch with the defense after his first trial testimony.
How long were you at the table eating your ham sandwich with the folks there enjoying the event? How long do you think that went on for?
I honestly don't know. 10 minutes. How long does it take you to eat a ham sandwich?
So he asked Hank Brennan. Oh, where did you go, Ed? What happened there? He asked Hank.
I'm back. What happened?
He asked Hank Brennan how long it would take to consume a ham sandwich, and we have a response to that, Ed. We do have a response to it.
Okay, hit me.
Here's our response. Hank Brennan is eating a ham sandwich in court. I don't know if you guys can see this, but there's Mr. Brennan eating not one, but 2 ham sandwiches. Ed, have you seen this photo?
Yes, I've seen it. But the question is, does he have mayo or mustard?
He probably has mayo.
Pardon my French, but you're an asshole. You dick.
What do you think?
Yes.
Chat? Does he have mustard or mayo? I say mayo on that ham sandwich. What are your thoughts in the chat? Is Hank Brennan eating a double ham sandwich with mustard or mayo? Lindsay says both mayo and mustard. Wow. There it is, right there. Hold on. We got Ed Wallace.
So this is what I use.
Nice.
I like my mustard spicy.
Just like you like your women.
Oh, that would be Chinese and spicy, but that's another story.
Oh my God.
But then 20 minutes later, I'm hungry again.
So there was Hank Brennan consuming a ham sandwich when he is accusing the good doctor of schmoozing during the first trial with, and you know what? It was funny. It was so funny and childish how, speaking of, we're acting a little funny right now, but it was so childish of Hank and the entire Commonwealth to fight to keep that FBI name out of the trial. Why? Because it hurts them. When the FBI is investigating, they get involved for what reason? Because they felt that something was wrong with the investigators investigating this case. The FBI doesn't just stick their nose in just because. Look at Sandra Birchmore. Look at the things that are happening in and around Canton, the corruption and all the craziness that's going on. The reason the FBI was here behind the scenes investigating is because they smelled something funky. Ed, your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. There's a lot of corruption going around in that county, and the FBI is all over it. It wouldn't be surprised if after this trial and they get a not guilty verdict, that the FBI then jumps in here and starts hauling people into a special grand jury to question people under oath, under 1001, threat of being arrested for lying to the FBI and so forth. Because there's something rotten in Canton.
Yeah, something smells really fishy in Canton, and it's not a good kind of smell. That's for sure. Simi Shop's in the building. Hello, Simi Shop. She says a ham sandwich.
Where's my Jersey people? Where's my Jersey people? Because like Jersey's crazy with this shit. Let me tell you something. Like there's Middlesex County, which splits Jersey in half. So you have the northern section and then the southern section between Middlesex, right? Now they have a thing in Jersey. To the north of Jersey, it's called Taylor ham. But to the south of Jersey, it's called, what is it, a pork roll? Okay. And so, I mean, what is it? You know, it's like Jersey is like, suffers from a split personality, right? The southern half of Jersey aligns with Philly. The northern half aligns with New York City. Okay.
Right. Yeah. Thank you for the breakdown. Thank you for the breakdown of Jersey, and Ed's looking for his Jersey family. Where's the Jersey fam? Mikey says the town needs an enema. This town needs an enema. Where's that from? Anybody? Our good friend Microdots. He's got a clip channel, Microdot Clips. I'm subscribed to it, and I get notifications. He put out a video today. It's worthwhile to play. I'll link his channel in the description. He's got the regular Microdots, and then Microdots Clip. The clip channel. So this is his clip channel.
Did not state that. That's correct.
So when you've made your criticisms,
this video, hold on. This video is labeled Hank Brennan hits a brick wall. So we know what we're about to watch here. This is all the greatest hits of Hank Brennan today, but the title is Hank Brennan hits a brick wall.
That's correct.
So when you've made your criticisms, you've done testing regarding Dr. Welch, you don't have any evidence, any statement by him that he was trying to reenact the actual collision.
When I did that, there's one test with the arm like this. That's the only evidence that was presented in his opinion or in his case. I evaluated that. I have not seen any other explanation of what happened or how it occurred. Specifically, Dr. Welcher said in his report on page 9, he said, I have conducted an accident reconstruction and biomechanical engineering analysis of this matter. If he did not recreate how he was positioned, if he did not determine the speed of impact, if he did not determine how Mr. O'Keefe's body moved, if he did not determine where he ended up, then he did not conduct either an accident reconstruction analysis or a biomechanical causation analysis. He did nothing of the sort.
Bam! Let's get back to my question.
I played that because that was the full thing. Like the media, they like to cut it off. But listen, Hank still doesn't get it. Like, hey, this is you're running into a brick wall. This is a 1-2 knockout punch by the good doctor here. But he still doesn't get it. And yes, I'm starting to see some resemblance of some of the nicknames that Hank Brennan has received over the 31 days in this trial. Put some of the Hank Brennan references in the chat, some of the nicknames that people are putting out there for him, just to get some fun going in the chat. So let's hear what your nickname for good old Hanky Dank.
He did nothing of the sort.
Other than your opinion, let's get back to my question if I could.
I believe I answered.
Hit the button.
Ask you again.
You dick.
I believe I answered at the beginning of the sort.
Other than your opinion, let's get back to my question if I could.
I believe I answered at the beginning of that, sir.
I'm going to ask you again.
The answer's not going to change, Hank.
Keep going, Hank. Watch here. as Karen and her team cannot believe that Hank Brennan is actually continuing with a line of questioning that establishes the Commonwealth doesn't have enough evidence to prove any theory.
My detailed question is, there is nothing in Dr. Welcher's report or any of his presentation that states he is trying to represent the exact posture, movement, and stance of Mr. O'Keefe when there was a collision. It's not anywhere in there where he stated that.
I love these reactions. Like, I don't know, like the feed that I watch doesn't have the camera movement like this. So this is good, either, editing work, or, I mean, this guy's talented, obviously, but to get these angles while this testimony is going on, to see these reactions at the table, is really interesting. And this is when they're all really realizing, this day is won, and the look on Karen's face says it all right there. So just take it a little bit back further.
Oh, speaking of Karen's face, did you see that bullshit in the New York Post?
I'm getting it today, because I believe we got to match this up. I believe they used these facial expressions, and this was from today.
Yeah, and they totally.
Yeah, they made it sound like she was making those faces when the brutal autopsy photos were being showed of police officer John O'Keefe.
And that was a bold-faced lie.
That was a bullshit total. This is what I got to say to the Post.
Pardon my French, but you're an asshole.
He's trying to represent the exact posture, movement, and stance of Mr. O'Keefe when there was a collision. It's not anywhere in there where he stated that.
It's not stated. I'd be curious to find out what that, if that wasn't the intent of the test, I'd be curious to see what the actual intent was.
Is the answer no, it's not in there?
I think I just said that at the beginning of my answer, sir.
I'm going to ask you again. Is the answer no?
The answer is no.
One perfect. I want to show the Post piece that you're referring to, because I saved it. Here it is. It's disgraceful. I'm ashamed that it's from the New York area. The Post is despicable. I got to take my ad block off. You suck too. I got to give you ads now. You son of a bitch. All right, here it is. This is the Post ad. Karen Reed. Get the fuck out. Karen Reed flashes sinister smirk as gory photos of her dead cop boyfriend were shown in court.
That's not when that happened. That was just now when you could see her position.
Maybe this wasn't from today, because she was wearing a white. So this is a different. It might have been from that day, but it had nothing to do. I don't believe it had anything to do with the.
Does this look like testimonies going on right now? She's having a conversation with Attorney Little. Right.
Yeah, she's talking across Alan Jackson.
And that's the sinister face?
Yeah, Reed, and this is it's unbelievable that this is this is New York Post. It used to be somewhat respectable.
No such thing as journalism.
Not anymore. Why can't I flip through these? It's not letting me. I got to click these advertisements. All right, fuck them. I'm not doing it. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow we're going to get we're going to look at what goes on in court tomorrow, but I think tomorrow night we'll take a rest, and then we'll come fresh back at it Friday night. Ed, do you have anything going on Friday? It's Father's Day weekend.
No, I'll be here.
Okay, let's go and acknowledge our friends who sent us super chat. Support is always appreciated. Let's answer out these super chat questions. We got to Tommy, we got to Vicky K. I believe, well, maybe not. Vicky K said Bev's worst day yet, and the defense would have wiped Welcher's face with dirty toilet paper. Does Reed have a case against the Commonwealth if not guilty? Oh fuck yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely be filing for all the expenses and for wrongful prosecution.
Yeah, absolutely. The Fixer, we highlighted this. No, we didn't. $2. Thank you, Fixer. Thank you, the fixer. More likely somersaults or car shooting to space. Yeah,
Yeah, we did that. We did that.
Charlie Samples, thank you for the $6. Oh, I don't think we've ever gotten a $6 super chat. That's pretty cool. Off, not regular number. I appreciate it. The taillight diffuser being destroyed proves defense case for me.
Yes, and there was only one time that the ARCA test got deep enough into the light to damage the taillight diffusers that were in the tailgate, but not the side one. Okay, and that was the highest speed and the center of gravity with the dummy. So
the poll has swelled to 3,200 votes, and 94% say no, the Commonwealth hasn't proven their case beyond a reasonable doubt, and 6% with a margin of error of maybe 3%. So 3% say no, and 97% say no, they haven't. And so,
hey, folks, put your DNA on that like button.
You did it again, Ed. Amy, thank you for the 10. After hitting Rescue Randy at 24, Aperture saw the damage to the Lexus, plus significant injuries in the ARCA's report, and not a coincidence. Pivoted to 8 miles an hour since the taillight had minimal damage at 10. Yeah, absolutely. And we thank you for your continued support, Amy, over the night, over all these nights that we've been going live. It's not really common for us to go live day after day after day, but this is special coverage that we're doing, and we're going to continue to do this with the Brian Kohlberger trial when that kicks off in August. We're going to do our best to bring you live updates and or nightly recaps. I think that's what we'll do. We'll see how it goes.
We're going to have a recap on the closing, and then we're on jury watch.
Absolutely. Sarah, thank you so much for the $199 super sticker. Evie 323, mom of the history chick, sends in $5, and she supports us night after night. And I want to thank you, Evie, and your daughter for continued support. I got to do an interview with your daughter. I didn't blow her off. It's just that it's been crazy here. She sends a $5 and says, I want to know what Dr. Rentschler had on his ham sandwich. Mustard, mayo, pickle? Did he have potato chips? What was his drink? What was his choice of beverage? Diet Coke? Pepsi?
Diet Coke!
Dr. Pepper? For fuck's sake, what did he have? I wanted the full, complete menu. And he sat in the corner, according to Hank, right? He didn't talk to anybody. He sat in the corner. Alessi's Fantabulous Lexicon. Thank you for the 5. Love these names. All Brennan proved was that Dr. Rentschler ate a ham sandwich in the company of the defense. That is a fact, and we have proof of it right there. There it is. We have proof of it. Oh, wait. That's Hank. That's not Doctor. That's not the doctor. Hank is eating the ham sandwich.
And the Gavon's got 2 of them.
For fuck's sake, he's greedy, that bastard. All right. Josh, I always think about producer whenever I see this name. Joshua H., $5. The Commonwealth hid the x-rays from the defense and their experts. ARCA got them from the feds. Dr. L got them a few weeks ago. If this ain't Brady, what in the fuck?
And why wasn't Judge Bev so enraged as she was and concerned about the defense team?
Hey guys, as soon as we're done with these super chats, we're going to go to the audience and pool some questions. Jenny D sends in 5. It's really sad to think that she would, in parentheses, more likely than not be found guilty without ARCA. That's not a good justice system. You know, I think ARCA really sealed the deal, but I think that they had a pile of reasonable doubt, the jury, prior to ARCA coming in, because Dr. Scordi-Bello, the good sergeant from Dighton, right? The testimony from the horrific former Canton cop. What the hell was her name? I forgot her name.
You're talking about
sucked.
Dever.
Yeah.
Dever.
Thank you. Kelly Dever. Yes. There was a lot.
I think Lucky. I think all the doctors, the pathologists came. It's a combination of all the science here. Right. And Lucky too. Lucky was huge at 2:30, and then his other trip passed. There was no body out there.
there was a lot of doubt created prior to ARCA coming in. But thank you for the super chat, Jenny. Much appreciated. The Fixer says it's awaiting the AJ's closing is like Sopranos, the Sopranos finale. Yeah, don't stop believing, right?
Don't stop.
Stop it, Ed. Bill M, thank you for the $2. My prediction, not guilty within 4 hours. Holy shiitake mushrooms. DK sends in a $20 super chat. She's a member. Thank you for being a member. And Fixer and everybody, thank you for being members. Dr. Scorty Bello said in the first trial that the x-rays out of the whole body were done. I was confused when Dr. Welcher said he hadn't seen x-rays. I think it's slimy. Hank set up his own expert to be incomplete.
No, he told him what he wanted, and the expert gave him what he wanted.
Right. 3,250 votes. 94% say no, they have not proven their case. And a short 6% says yes with the margin of error. Thank you, Fixer, again for the super chat. Janice, thank you for the 5. John came in the garage door. Chloe attacked, and John fell backwards. The McAlberts knew the liability, and the first thought was to frame Lucky. That's one of the theories that's out there.
Yeah, it's very reasonable.
Yeah, it is. Holly, thank you for the 10. Brennan throwing his own expert under the bus today equals mind-blowing. Brennan thinking he's winning today equals I'm dead. Keep crushing it, guys. Hugs and kisses. Thank you, Holly.
Thank you, Holly.
We love her and appreciate you. Holly, this is for you. Mr. Brennan in Lifeguard Beb's courtroom with the audience. People are in they're in the gallery and they're getting to watch Hank chow down on not one, but 2.
Is that Boar's Head?
That's bullshit. That's no boar's head. Yeah, Hank's a cheap fuck.
Is Oscar Mayer?
Yeah. You might have got that from Subway.
Subway.
Emily, thank you for the 5. Do you think he decided not to call the rebuttal witnesses because of the x-rays that supposedly didn't exist? I think it was a combination of knowing that he's conceded and knowing that he's done.
No, I think he didn't want the blowback because the defense was going to ask him, did you discuss the cuts to the back of the shirt with Prosecutor Brennan? And the lab analyst would have to say yes, right? And then with Welcher, did you discuss x-rays with the prosecutor? And then that's all going to come out, that all of these things, right?
Yeah.
That the prosecutor had all these things and didn't share.
You may be right, Ed. Hold on a second. I want to remove this stop screen, and then I want to try this. Share screen, window. There it is. I fixed it up a little bit without. I wanted to get it without all the stuff on it. So this is as clear as I can get it, and I want to thank Kristen for creating that picture. Kayla, Courtney, thank you for the 5. As an ICU nurse, thank you for that. It's not an easy job. Working in the ICU unit is a lot of stress and pressure, and being a nurse is just stressful and a lot of pressure. So we thank you as law enforcement, former retired law enforcement. We rely on our nurses, doctors, EMTs, paramedics, emergency first responders, 9/11, the dispatchers, and everybody that's responsible for saving lives. We thank you. I am appalled that the Commonwealth believes these wounds were caused by a car. That's the ruse that they're going with, Kayla. That's the ruse, and they're really sticking with it. They're doubling down on it. I think I'm going to keep, by a show of hands in the chat, should we keep this picture of Hank eating this ham sandwich for the duration of this live stream as we read the chats? Put a yes in the chat. Put a 1 in the chat if it's a yes, 2 in the chat if no. Let me look at the chat real quick. Ed, are you checking the Hank saying again?
No, but isn't it kind of cannibalistic what he's doing?
He's eating too.
No, but isn't he eating his own? That's swine, right? Isn't that considered swine?
It is. Hold on. I think I got a button for this. I think I got a button for this. Hold on a second. Where is it?
You gotta ask yourself a question.
That's not it. For fuck's sake. I don't have it. Oh, here's a good one for Hank.
Why don't you put your thumb up your butt?
Oh. Neil, thank you for the 2. AJ needs to drop if the glove don't fit. You must acquit. I almost actually uploaded that little video from the OJ trial to play, but I aborted the mission. MRez, thank you for the 10. I hope Lifeguard Bev and Hank. I love that people are adopting your Lifeguard Bev reference. I hope Lifeguard Bev and Hank share a jail cell after this trial. It's unfortunately, I don't mean to burst the bubble. It's not going to happen. They're going to get away with this nonsense. Both are a disgrace. We agree. Any predictions on their future careers? They are washed up. You both are great. Are the greatest. Thank you. And thanks for all you do. Bad boys. Bad boys.
Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you?
All right, enough. Thank you, MRez. Much appreciated. Marie, thank you for being a member for 1 month. What if the FBI let the trial happen to investigate how deep it goes? Well, they closed their investigation. I don't know if that's official, but that's the word on the street. They closed their investigation, but they always can reopen and go back at it. So one never knows, does one, right?
Nope.
Jody Lynn Kresniak. Am I getting that right? Kresniak? I'm Ed.
Kryzak?
Thank you. $5. 6% of your audience are just trolls. No, some people admitted that they hit the button by mistake. So I don't think 6% are just trolls. I think that it's probably 3. 3,388 votes. Let's get those votes up. Let's at the end we'll show it on the screen. Camille, thank you for the 5. Why does Brennan always lean on furniture and put his hands in his pockets? Look, he's not leaning on the table here. He's being very polite. He's eating without leaning on the table here. Drives me crazy. So unprofessional. Well, when he's eating the ham sandwich, he's abiding by the rules. So
he drives me crazy.
I wish we had the soundboard. SJT, thank you for the Canadian 25. We deserve better than a circus, than circus tactics and sideshow theatrics in court of law, in the court of law. Enough already with the Brennan and Bev blatant, intentional, ethical violations with a lack of moral compass. Angry face, no integrity. Angry face, no ethics. Thank you, DutyRon and Ed. We agree. Many people outside the country, especially across the pond and in various other locations, are like really, really surprised with this and really sorry for us. This is not indicative of how our courts are run. Look at Judge Hippler in Idaho with the Brian Kohlberger case. He's no nonsense. And it's a complete exact opposite of this. Look at the judge in Lori Vallow Daybell trial that's going on right now. He's no nonsense and he's a professional.
I think she closed today, right? I mean, I think she ended her case today.
And I haven't been following it. Darkborn, thank you for the 10. I hope her team has saved that article so she can sue for libel and defamation. Yeah, it's in New York Post. It's all over the internet. Nashley, thank you, 66, for the Gilbert Gottfried reference. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Is there something in this hand that could make you forget about what's in the other hand? He was great in Beverly Hills Cop.
Yeah, that was a great. There was so many great parts in the Beverly Hills Cop. MRez, thank you so much for again supporting us. $5. Karen is going to own Boston when this shit show is over. Yeah. Vicky Duff, thanks for the 5. We appreciate you. Vicky, thank you for gifting a membership. Vicky Thomas. Very nice, very kind. Le Blanc. Thank you for becoming a YouTube member. Summer Girl. The summer wind came rolling in.
Okay, that was a bit of a stretch, but anyway.
Shut up, Ed.
Whoa, easy there.
But you're an asshole.
Okay.
I just hit the button. Summer Girl, thank you. I want to thank you both for your time. The timer. You both are special. Well, we appreciate you, and we appreciate everybody for being here. Thank you. Nutmeg Queen, thank you for the super sticker. Appreciate that. 5. Vicky Thomas, thank you for the super sticker. Another 5. Appreciate it. Candela Candela, thank you for the 5. Thank you for making this relatable. I watched the first trial and most of the second, but at the end, my blood pressure couldn't take the injustice in this case. It's exhausting. And Ed gets a kick out of me mispronouncing words.
I get a kick out of you.
Hank, Mickey Duff, thank you for the 5. Hank bought the sub from Albert's Pizza.
Got it as a gift. It was a freebie. It was on the arm, as we say, on the arm.
Oh my God. Gail, thank you for becoming a YouTube member. Eileen, thank you for the 5. As a Massachusetts resident, I'm wicked pissed. Commonwealth has spent my tax dollars like this.
Indeed.
You should be. Amy, thank you for gifting 5 memberships. Much appreciated.
Way to go, Amy.
Wanderer Wonders, thank you for the $5 super sticker. Much appreciated. Kiwi, look at that, Ed.
All right.
Coming in with some New Zealand cash. Thank you for the $8.99. Kia ora.
Kia ora.
Thank you so much for the fighting duo, Batman and Robin. Love you guys so much. XO, thank you so much. I think we're almost done, Ed. Ida, thank you for the super sticker, super chat. Thank you guys. You rock. No, thank you. You rock. Brennan's dye job. Does he have a dye? Yeah, he does have a dye job. Karen Reed said the FBI investigating hasn't really stopped. Do you think they're just letting this play out to gather more evidence? Could be.
Yeah.
The FBI doesn't tell anybody generally what they're doing or what they're not doing.
You know, I actually had a case in the Bronx, and it went to trial in Bronx Supreme Court on the state level. And then 18 months later, I was testifying on the same case, different defendant in federal court.
Yeah.
So, you know, and the feds did not tell the state about their investigation into the same players.
Oh, wow. Insane. Ditto, thank you for being a member for 1 month. Both of you guys have helped me get through all of this. Well, we appreciate that. And we're getting through it together. Clara D, thank you for the super chat, $5. Bev needs to take a lesson from Judge Stephen Everett in the Adelson case in Florida. Yeah, she could take a lesson from any other judge but herself. She's a disgrace. I'd love to look at some of her former cases. Thank you all for those super chats. Crispy Treats in the chat. I want to just scroll back because somebody was asking for some prayers. I want to get to that one. All right, here it is. Julie V. Thank you for being a member for a long, long period of time. She said that I've been on this channel for over a year. It's been longer than that, but maybe a member for about a year or more. I'm in need of prayers. Having half my lung removed on Tuesday from cancer, small cell carcinoma. Need all the prayers I can get. Please, everyone, flood the chat with prayers. Emojis for Julie V. We love you. We know you're going to get through this. I'm here for you. Ed's here for you. Reach out on DutyRon.com if you need support or someone just to talk to. As cancer survivors, Ed and myself, we will give you any and all support that we can give you.
Amen, Julie. We got you back.
Yeah,
Stay strong.
You got this, girl. Look at the chat. It's going crazy with the prayer emojis. Thank you. 3,532 votes, 94% to 6%. 94% they have not proven beyond a reasonable doubt that their case was, the Commonwealth has not proven their case. 94%, astounding. 94% say, no, they haven't. They suck. You know what? All right, let's get Hank off. I'm getting sick of him eating that ham sandwich. Well, too. There's not even any cheese on there. There's nothing. It looks dry, like he just got it from the county jail. Maybe that's what he's going to be fed when he goes there. Prayers to Julie. Vicky Thomas sneaking in another super chat. Prayers for Julie. Thank you for the $1.99, Vicky Thomas. All right, I'm going to close the poll because we're wrapping it up. Ed, we tried for an hour. Look at it, 123. For crying out loud.
For fuck's sake.
Hashtag Ed, hashtag DutyRon in the chat, and we'll wrap it up at 1 hour and 30. We got 7 more minutes. 7 minutes in heaven, Ed. Anybody ever play that when you were going through high school? I did.
You damn shite.
7 minutes in heaven. Anybody get the reference?
Yeah.
When's Ed's dramatic reading? What, Tom? Tom Gilly. The Tom
Gilly Show.
When's Ed's dramatic reading?
Of the poem.
Oh, okay. When is it, Ed?
That's after the verdict, right?
All right. Well, he's asking for a friend.
Asking for a friend. Our Canadian friend.
Justice for Karen Reed says, Jose Rodriguez, thank you, Crispy Treat in the chat. It does look like a good bakery bun now that I'm telling you. You think?
Uh-huh.
I don't know. Look, I see mold right there. Do you guys see mold growing? I hope he gets a bad case of diarrhea and shit.
Oh, easy.
All right.
Never wish the shits on somebody because it's going to turn around and get you.
I think everybody's been a victim of that at one point or another. All right. Let's reel it back in. Allison BD's making people laugh.
The Berg.
Mickey Duff says it's a hoagie.
Yeah, that's another thing, right? And depending on what part of the country you're in, you call it different things, right?
Yeah.
Do you remember the movie Kelly's Hero?
Yes, I remember it.
To a New Yorker like you, a hero is some kind of funky sandwich.
Natasha Richardson, I knew that somebody would get that 7 Minutes in Heaven reference. She said it's called hooking up in a closet. Gross, LOL. I didn't.
So I know we got hoagies.
I wasn't accusing anybody of hooking up, but 7 Minutes in Heaven was a thing back in the day when I grew up in the 60s, well, in the 70s and 80s. It was a thing. It was, you know.
Right. There you go. Tom's got it. Hoagies, subs, grinders, heroes.
There you go. All right. Let's rock and roll and get out of here. Let's take.
But what? Wait, don't forget down south, Tom. Poor boys. P-O, boys.
Popo. Day 31 trailer. Oh, I promised Kristen that I would play this trailer again, but no, we got to wrap it up. We're there. We got to do this. As we always end these live streams, we want to remember the victim, police officer John O'Keefe. His life was taken away from him on that fateful night on January 29th, 2022. And we want to keep him at the forefront. And I know, Ed, you always have something to say at the end of these things. Please.
He definitely didn't use Duke's mayonnaise. No, that's not what I had to say. Thank you folks again for spending your precious time with us. We started at 8:30, right? So another hour and a half. We know you can get your true crime fix anywhere you like on the internet, and it's an honor to have it. You share your time with us and support us. Thank you for that and spreading the word about us and helping us grow our family, because we are a family here. We're the true crime forensic family of Crime Time with DutyRon and Ed Wallace, and we appreciate you with all our heart. With that said, always stay safe, stay prepared, and watch your six.
Amen to that, brother. Thank you so much, Ed. And as we say goodnight to all of you, please keep John O'Keefe, his family, and the entire defense team in your thoughts and prayers. We thank you for being here. We love you. We thank the replay viewers, the moderators, and everyone for taking out the time for being here. If we missed some of your chats, Beamer 650 was in the chat earlier. She also is battling lung cancer, stage 2B. She went through a round of several rounds of chemotherapy and is now going to get radiation. So one of our great mods, Beamer 650, sister of Lexi, is going through it as well. Keep all of the people in your thoughts and prayers. Pray for all of our community, and for those of you who are suffering or going through it, we're here with you. So thank you. Good night from New York City, and we'll talk to you guys all Friday night. God bless.